But I know that it's not about how long we sing the song. I know it's not about what phrase we sing. What do you feel really is the just behind spontaneous and prophetic worship that draws people to it? I mean, we have a mutual friend, Rick Pino.
Yeah.
And Rick, that's how he operates. And people are drawn by the masses to hear this prophetic word. He's got a really good band that really begins to flow with him, knows how to operate with him. But people draw to that prophetic worship. They want to hear something that's fresh, some fresh manna. How do you feel that the church is receiving the prophetic and spontaneous worship in general?
Well, what I feel like is I feel that there's a lot of churches now that are kind of switching from the normal everyday 3-song, 5 minutes a piece set, and I really feel like they're hungry for some of the prophetic worship and something new. And last night the Lord gave me a word. He said that He's going to begin to do away with the old wineskin, and He's going to be able to give people a new skin to feel new, to put new wine in it. So, I believe that He's doing away with the old and coming in with the new. In all honesty, what I see is more people, even that's changing now, like from what I've gleaned and noticed from young people like me, they're really looking for the authenticity of God, of the authentic worship. They could really care less about the smoke and lights now. Like maybe that was 5-10 years ago where people were like, "Oh, that's so cool," but really they're hungry. People are hungry because it's been dry for a while now, and I just feel like there's a shift happening where a lot of people think that my generation is the lost generation, and they don't want any of God. No, they want the real. They want the real God. They want the authentic God. They want the power of God. They don't want just this message of, oh, you come to church, it makes you a good person, and then you go off and do your thing in the week and come back on Sunday, and then you get refreshed again. No, they want the power of God. They want the authentic nature of God. And when we really come into agreement with that and agreement with what the Lord's prayer is, we're going to see massive things happen in the Spirit.
I agree. I really feel that this past 16, 17 years, there's been a shift. There's been a whole lot of shifts in the last 17 years.
Yeah.
But there's been a shift in the last couple of years that I'm with you. I think people are seeking after something that's authentic, it's original, that's not being duplicated. We talked about this on one of our video casts just recently. I love Elevation, man. I love their worship, but I don't want to be them. And there's a difference in doing some of their music and being inspired by some of them, and Jesus Culture and Dustin Smith and Michael Farron. These guys, I love them, and they're a huge influence in my life, but I don't want to be them. I want to have something that says that's AC Cordell or that's New Life Worship, and I want it to be authentic. And I believe that's what's attracting people. Like you said, there's something that's authentic, it's real, it's original.
Yeah.
I don't want to duplicate what everybody else is doing. But man, I think I think you're right on. That there's something happening in the atmosphere that's causing people to just want something that's authentic.
Yeah.
And the lights and the cameras and the fog machines and everything. That's just a tool to draw people in. The Bible tells us to go to the highways and byways and compel them and draw them in. And that's what that is. It's a tool to draw people in that may not have come without it.
Yeah.
But once they get here, it's not about that. And here, especially at our church, when they get here, they feel something tangible. They sense something in their spirit that says, hey, I'm connecting with what's going on spiritually here. And that's what it's about. It's not about, like you said, the cameras and the screens and the lights. That's a tool to get them here, but once they get here, it has to be about something more than that. Otherwise, they leave as fast as they came in, right?
Yeah. It reminds me of this minister that used to come to the church in Bowling Green that we were at before he moved here. His name was Daniel McGee, and he would travel around the country really doing these outreaches, and he would give away cars, he would give away PlayStations, anything.
Where was that? Where was that? I needed a PlayStation.
Well, he was part of Rodney Howard Brown's church. He was, He was the kids' children's pastor there, but now he's off on his own again. But he would come to the church and we would do these outreach with us, and we fundraise for months, and we just get these gifts and stuff, and we'd go pass out flyers and stuff. And what he was really saying is about that verse, compel him to come in, and he's like, "What's your bait like? Do you have any bait to get your fish on here?
Wow.
Where's your bait at?
I like that.
Like, are they going to come just because you say you're a church and they go, but where's your bait?
Wow.
Do you have any bait?
That's good.
You can't catch with just a hook."
That's good.
So,
That's good. That's good. I will end it like this today, Chris. Let me ask you this. Really, as a prophetic worshiper, I think there's 3 key things that we need to look at. And that is, what is the theme of God's heart right now? There's always, in every season, there's a theme of something. Number 2 is, what is God saying to his people? What is the word he's trying to get out to his people right now in this season? And what do the people of God need to be declaring? Listen, there's times where we'll be singing a song. We'll just take the old song, How Great Is Our God. And that's a song of declaration.
yeah.
And when we start saying, you're the name above all names, worthy of our praise, we start declaring. And that's a lot of times in spiritual warfare, we need to have the people in worship declare certain things over their lives, over the church, over their families. And when we get the worship to the point where we start declaring whatever the voice of the Lord is telling us, and a lot of times that's where the spontaneous worship comes out. God will begin to speak to us and say, here's what I want our people to say today. This is what I want to get in their spirit. Sometimes in order to get in their spirit, you got to sing it for 10 minutes. That's why I said earlier, it's not always about singing a song for 10 minutes or however long. But sometimes we have to do that to get it in somebody's spirit, for them to catch it, to get the revelation of it. But I think the biggest thing is finding out, what does God's people need to declare over their own lives. And when God speaks that word through prophetic worship, then grab a hold of that word and start declaring it every day in your prayer life, in your walk with the Lord. If God says, listen, I will live and not die. If you're dealing with a healing issue, you're dealing with some sickness, and there's a word that comes to you that says, I will declare life and I will live and not die, then walk around every single day declaring what the word of the Lord spoke to you through worship or through prayer, whatever, and through that we will see, by faith, the healing that God has granted us for that. And I think really that's where a lot of the prophetic worship has gone to, is we just need to find out what the theme is of God's heart. What does he want his people to hear? And then when the people hear it, we have to learn to declare it.
Yeah.
And speak it out. What do you think?
I think, honestly, I've never thought about the theme, but what I really...
You said it earlier, though.
Yeah.
You create a set list.
Yeah.
Basically with a theme that's leading into something that God's trying to say to you. So
Yeah.
I may have said it differently, but you have thought about it, because that's what we do as worship leaders. We think of a theme. If it's freedom, if it's healing, if it's whatever. But then if that's what God's trying to tell his people at that particular service, then we've got to really understand and get people to declare by faith, I am healed. Declare by faith, I am coming out of this financial problem that I've been dealing with. God's going to financially help me come out of this. So all these different things that the Lord is trying to speak through themes and through his heart, getting people to declare that by faith is going to be, I mean, listen, the battle's won already. If you can get people declaring the word of God and the prophetic word that comes forth, people will already have the victory by just declaring that word.
I heard you say, what do you think the Lord's speaking to his people right now? And really, I had a dream. It'll be a year in on July 19th. I had a dream, and it was, this is while we were at the beach. And I woke up out of this dream. And when the dream, me and my wife were walking, and we saw the clouds. It was just pitch black, and all of a sudden, in the clouds, it started to turn into red embers, like lava in the clouds. And I looked up there, and I looked at my wife. I said, "We gotta go." So we started running to the hills, and all of a sudden, as soon as we got up on them hills, all this rain and fire just started hitting the ground. And then I woke up in the dream. I woke up the next morning, and it was an all-out war in every nation you could think of. It was just every nation you could think of, even Americans fighting each other, every country fighting against each other. And I said, Lord, what are you trying to tell me through this dream? Why did I have this dream? Because honestly, I hadn't thought about anything like that. And he said, prepare the way. Prepare the way. I'm coming soon. So that week I wrote a song called Prepare the Way. And I really believe that the Lord's wanting us to prepare our hearts for His coming. And we've kind of gotten away from that message in the church, of the Lord coming back. It's all about prosperity in church. A lot of churches talk about prosperity. Well, I think the Lord is really wanting us to turn back to that message of prepare your heart for His coming. Doll yourself up. Get ready, because you're the bride, So,
We're the bride, He's the groom, preparing the way. I'll take this time to put a plug in for you. And you guys can go to iTunes, and what other ways can they pick the song up at?
They can get it in. They can listen to it on Spotify, Google Play. They can get off basically any
Amazon,
anywhere.
Yeah, all those. Go check out Chris Lee, Prepare the Way. It's a great song. We've been threatening to do that song here for months now. We really need to make it happen. But you're a busy guy, man.
Yeah.
It's been months since you've been on a platform and played with us, so we gotta make this thing change.
I know.
We gotta get you up here with us. So
we've I've either been gone on the road, or I've been up in the youth, really trying to create a culture of worship in the youth up there.
Yeah,
they're
you're
the
doing
next
a great job.
generation, so.
Doing a great job. Well, listen, man, I appreciate you taking the time with us today here on Creative Worshipers video cast. Just trying to tackle a little bit of the prophetic and the spontaneous worship. And again, a lot of this is just our opinions, our viewpoints of how we interpret the word and how we really feel God's speaking to us right now.
Yeah.
Listen, I welcome your comments, your thoughts. You'll see at the end there an email address so you can communicate with me here at the Creative Worshipers Videocast. And listen, we're going to continue this conversation. Chris, I may bring you back and go on a little bit further with this. Because I know biblically there's a lot more to it than what we had a chance to talk about today. But listen, we love you guys. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Continue sending your comments and your thoughts to me, and we'll continue to address the hot topics of worship today in the local church. Love you. Talk to you soon.